gotta love this country. Truth be told, I'll take the asphalt humming beneath my wheels up here any day. These past 20 years spent stringing my trap line across the big wide open, I felt the salt spray in my face from Cape Spear to Haida Gwaii, where the hidden boons accrued, engaging the heartline hum of people and place, was heavenly manna for a hungry pilgrim that delivered a currency beyond measure, finding a far deeper purchase well beyond a payday's treasure. I crossed my father's country in Newfoundland and a dozen autumns gone, when turning tamarack needles had wrapped the rock in a halo gold as a ruler's crown. When on a night in old St. John's, I heard the island's soul note loud and clear, as faces flush with pints of plenty rose in ships in chorus, while the man of 1,000 songs sang his ballad to the city's haunted harbor that wrapped me in a blanket of belonging to something far bigger than the gig that brought me there. One thing's for sure, you don't visit Newfoundland for the weather. Oh no. Camped in Grossmore National Park last summer, the winds kicked up overnight to 106 kilometers an hour. Damn near blew my tent to France. It's a wonder I didn't wake up with a croissant on my sleeping bag and an arrogant attitude. I said to a local fellow the following morning, that was one hell of a storm last night. But he replied, yes, boy, stiff breeze. On the other side of the country, you'll get a whole different kind of buzz. Look at Nelson, BC, across the Great Divide, home to fresh-faced, heart-warm neo-hippie chicks, kootenai ski bums and nomads and America's exile sons who dodged that southern draft during Tricky Dickie's war with $50 in a Volkswagen van and Bob Dylan on the 8-track. It's where I felt menthol cool breezes dance down from marshmallow white mountaintops, tickling the nape of my neck with the softness of a lover's kiss, where eagles were hatching, bears were scratching, and Sasquatch mothers suckled their young in secret groves of elfin underbrush. Okay, that's a lie. There were no bears. Now, there are certain cultural peccadillos unique to different regions of Canada. In towns beyond the Pale, I've seen trucks on whose bumpers hung a pair of plastic testicles. You can be damn sure if there's a fake set of nuts on a bumper, there's a real dick behind the wheel. In the northern realms of the Yukon and beyond, the senses are stirred up where energy expended is energy returned. There's a statue in the main square of downtown Whitehorse commemorating the Klondike Gold Rush of 1898. It's a bearded and bedraggled sourdough miner with his trusty mule whose plaque reads, "Dedicated to those who follow their dreams." That's inspiring, huh? But what the plaque doesn't tell you is that the first winter in country, he was forced to eat that mule and lost 7 toes to frostbite the night he went cuckoo with cabin fever and ran apeshit nude through the snow with a sled dog wearing a bonnet singing My Darling Clementine. But come on, who hasn't done that, huh? And sometimes when the road gets old, there's someone you meet who lightens your load and lets you know why you answered the call and you're on it in the first place. I played Whitehorse a few winters back and hung out for a couple of days afterwards in a cabin 2 hours outside of town at Tagish Lake. It had been unseasonably mild that January, and I was following wolf tracks in a light dusting of snow from the night before up a mountainside, communing with nothing but my breath and my heartbeat. A few hours in, I noticed grizzly bear tracks. Perhaps a bear had come out of hibernation with the warm weather, feeling somewhat peckish, and was looking to snack on a human Snickers bar. Geez, I saw those, turned on my heel, and made a beeline for the road, remembering I'd been too quiet, knowing you gotta make noise so the animals will hear you and not gobble you down. I broke into Battle Hymn of the Republic at the top of my lungs, and because I'm Canadian, I knew every verse. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. But I made it out of the woods, got to my car breathless, drove back to the cabin, slept the sleep of the dead, and I woke refreshed for my drive back to Whitehorse the next morning. And it was one of those dawns in the north you only get way up there, huh? Where the champagne air bites your lungs like a Mr. Misty from the DQ. And Orion is sitting so clear on the horizon in the dawn, his sword looks sharp enough to cut you. And driving past a scattering of houses on my way to Whitehorse in this town called Carcross, I see a lone figure standing beside the road with a thumb out, hitchhiking. It's 6:30 a.m. on a minus 37 Yukon morning. And soon as I pass and stop the car, and I'm thinking, hey, Ronnie, give him a lift. If it's a serial killer, it's going to take him an hour and a half to get the butcher knife out from beneath the layers of Gore-Tex. Oh, I back up in the car, open the passenger side door, a hood comes back, and it's the weathered face of an ancient indigenous woman. She looks at me and says, whoa, good vibes in here, eh? She tells me her name's Helen, and she's on her way to Sunday church service at the Salvation Army in Whitehorse. We start to talk. What are you doing way up here? Well, I was working in Whitehorse, and I had a few days off, Helen, so I hung out in a cabin in Tagish Lake and spent some time hiking in the woods. By yourself? Sure. Whoa, God was watching out for you. Why? Well, the mild weather has the bears confused. They're coming out of hibernation early and they're hungry. Something's eating the dogs down by the lake and taking everything but the head. Remembering Kwakiutl folklore of a shape-shifting she-bear who kills and eats her suitor, I'm thinking, geez, I hope the story's not based on her, otherwise she's going to make a hell of a mess of this rental car. I said, oh, no worries, Helen. I was singing Battle Hymn of the Republic at the top of my lungs, and my voice is so bad, every wolf or bear in 120 kilometers would have had their paws over their ears. Her hands go up and, ha, 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 ha. You should be a comedian.